The morning sun rose over the green fields of Kepler 442b, casting long shadows across the wheat that swayed in the gentle breeze. Commander Park Hyun-woo stood on his porch, coffee cup in hand, watching the golden waves dance. It was hard to believe this world had been barren rock just 20 years ago. Now children ran through the streets of New Busan, their laughter echoing between the simple homes that lined the main road. Park took a sip of his coffee and smiled. The defense station behind him hummed quietly, its sensors sweeping the star system as they did every day. Nothing ever happened here. The most excitement they had seen in months was when young Kim Tae-ho crashed his hoverbike into Mrs. Lee's vegetable garden. Even that had ended with everyone sharing dinner and laughing about it. "Another quiet day," muttered Sergeant Yoon Da-hai as she climbed the steps to join him. She carried a data pad with the morning reports. "All systems normal. No ships in system except for the grain transport that left yesterday." Park nodded. That was how he liked it. 3,000 people lived on this world now. Farmers, teachers, doctors, engineers. Good people who just wanted to build something peaceful. The war machines of Earth felt like ancient history here. Across the colony, Dr. Kim So-ra was already at work in her lab. She studied the local plants and animals, looking for ways humans could live better alongside the native life. Her real passion, though, was first contact protocols. She had written papers about how humans should meet new alien species. "Always with respect, always with open hands. We are not conquerors," she often said in her lectures. "We are gardeners, growing life where there was none." The morning briefing at the colony center was the same as always. Population steady, food production up. The new school would open next month. Park listened and made notes, but his mind wandered. His daughter Yoonji would start classes there. She was only 7, born right here on this world. Earth was just a story to her, something from the history books. Captain Lee Dong-min was loading cargo onto his merchant ship when the first strange readings appeared. His vessel, the New Soul, carried supplies between the human colonies. It was honest work, and Lee enjoyed seeing the different worlds humans had made their homes. "Captain," called his navigator, Petty Officer Cho Min-soo, "I'm getting odd energy signatures at the edge of the system." Very faint, Lee looked at the display. Just static, really. Probably interference from the stellar wind. Log it and keep watching. But the readings came again the next day, and the day after that, Dr. Kim So-ra received the data from several colony ships. The same strange energy patterns were showing up across 3 different star systems, always at the very edge where their sensors could barely reach. She felt a flutter of excitement in her chest. This could be it. First contact with an alien species. She sent messages to Earth immediately. The response came back within hours. "Study carefully. Prepare contact protocols. Do nothing aggressive." So-ra gathered her team. They had trained for this moment for years. How to communicate with beings who might think completely different from humans. How to show peaceful intentions. How to share knowledge and culture. "Remember," she told them, "whoever they are, they chose to watch us first instead of attacking. That suggests intelligence and caution." Good signs. The weeks passed slowly. The energy readings grew stronger, more clear. Definitely artificial. Definitely ships. Big ones, based on the power signatures. Dr. Kim So-ra worked day and night preparing first contact packages. Music, mathematics, pictures of human families and children. Universal concepts that any intelligent species might understand. Park Hyun-woo felt less excited about it. His job was to protect the colony, and unknown aliens made that job much harder. He checked the defense systems more carefully now. 2 old missile platforms and a handful of patrol drones. Enough to handle pirates or accidents, but not much more. "Maybe we should ask Earth for some backup," suggested Sergeant Yoon. Park considered it, but backup would take months to arrive, and Earth had made its position clear. The colonies were supposed to handle their own problems. Besides, Dr. Kim So-ra was probably right. Any species advanced enough for space travel would surely prefer trade to violence. The children kept playing in the streets. The farmers kept tending their crops. Life continued as normal because most people didn't know about the strange ships watching from the dark. Only a few scientists and security people had been told. Captain Lee Dong-min noticed other changes during his supply runs. Livestock going missing from farms. Always just a few animals, never enough to cause alarm. Weird interference with communications equipment. Sometimes colonists reported seeing lights in the sky at night, but the lights never appeared on sensors. Probably just meteor showers, people said. This system has lots of space rocks. Dr. Kim So-ra prepared her first contact broadcast. A simple message in mathematics and pictures, sent toward where the ship seemed to be hiding. It said, "We are humans. We come in peace. We want to learn about you." She sent the message and waited. Days passed, then weeks. No response. "Maybe they don't understand," suggested her assistant Dr. Park Ji-hoon. "Or maybe they're being careful like we are." So-ra sent the message again with more pictures this time. Humans working together, humans caring for their children, humans healing the sick. She wanted to show the best parts of what her species could be. Still no answer. The strange energy readings grew stronger every day. More ships were arriving at the edge of the system. Park Hyun-woo started having trouble sleeping. His military training told him something was wrong, but everyone else remained hopeful. "First contact is always complicated," Dr. Kim So-ra assured him. "They're probably having the same debates we are. How to approach us safely." Park looked out at his colony again. 3,000 people who trusted him to keep them safe. Children who had never known war. Families who had left Earth seeking a peaceful life among the stars. The defense station hummed quietly behind him, its old sensors reaching out into the dark. Whatever was coming, he would face it the way humans always had. With courage, with hope, and with fierce protection for those who could not protect themselves. But deep in his gut, Park Hyun-woo felt something his training recognized. The calm before the storm. The quiet moment when predators choose their prey. He just didn't know yet that humanity was not the predator in this story. The attack came at dawn. Private Nam Soo-jin was feeding the chickens behind her family's farm when the sky caught fire. Brilliant streaks of light tore through the morning air, moving faster than anything should move. She stood there, grain bucket in her hand, watching in confusion as the lights grew bigger and brighter. Then the first explosion hit New Busan. The ground shook so hard that Soo-jin fell to her knees. The chickens scattered, squawking in terror. A mushroom of smoke and flame rose from where the school was supposed to open next month, where her little brother would have learned to read. "Soo-jin," her father's voice cracked with fear. "Get in the shelter!" Now she ran. Everyone was running. The careful, peaceful streets of the colony turned into chaos as more explosions bloomed across the settlement. Buildings that had taken years to build vanished in seconds. The community center where people held weddings became twisted metal and burning plastic. Commander Park Hyun-woo was already at the defense station when the attack began. The sensors screamed warnings, but it was too late. Dozens of alien ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly above the colony. No warning, no communication. No demands, just death. All units respond immediately. Park shouted into his communicator. "This is not a drill. We are under attack." His 2 missile platforms fired everything they had. The old weapons streaked upward, their contrails white against the blue sky. A few alien ships took damage, but most of the missiles simply vanished, destroyed by energy weapons that moved at light speed. Sergeant Yoon Da-hee ran to her station, hands shaking as she tried to coordinate the evacuation. "Where do we go?" she asked. "The shelters won't hold everyone." Park looked at his displays. The alien ships were not just bombing the colony. They were landing. Troops poured out of sleek black dropships. The beings wore armor that looked like it was grown rather than built. They moved through the streets with terrible purpose, killing everything that moved. "Get people to the spaceport," Park ordered. "Every ship we have. Load them up and run." Dr. Kim So-ra hugged her research files to her chest as explosions rocked her laboratory. Her careful first contact protocols seemed like a joke now. These aliens had not come to talk. They had come to harvest. Through her window, she saw alien soldiers dragging human bodies toward their ships, not to bury them, to load them like cargo. The beings moved with the efficiency of farmers collecting crops. So-ra realized with horror that this was exactly what humans were to them. "Resources to be gathered, Doctor." Dr. Park Ji-hoon grabbed her arm. "We have to go. The building is coming down." They ran through corridors filled with smoke and screaming. Emergency lights flickered red. So-ra's life work burned behind her. But she clutched one thing tightly, a data recorder with footage of the attack. Someone had to survive to tell Earth what happened here. Captain Yoon Tae-hyuk was loading refugees onto his cargo ship when he saw something that broke his heart. A group of alien soldiers had cornered a dozen human children in the school playground. The kids huddled together, crying for their parents. The aliens raised their weapons. Yoon gunned his ship's engines and dove. His cargo hauler was not built for combat, but it was big and heavy. He crashed through the playground fence and opened fire with his ship's mining lasers. The crude weapons were meant for cutting rock, not fighting, but they worked. 3 alien soldiers fell. The others scattered. Yoon landed hard and opened his cargo bay. "Get in," he shouted to the children. "Now run!" Small hands grabbed at his clothes as he helped them climb aboard. Their faces were streaked with dirt and tears. One little girl, maybe 5 years old, looked up at him with huge eyes. "Where's my mom?" she whispered. Yoon's throat felt tight. "We'll find her later, sweetie. Right now we need to get you safe." But he had seen the mom's body in the street, along with so many others. The evacuation ships lifted off one by one, overloaded with refugees. Many people didn't make it to the spaceport. The alien soldiers were fast and brutal, cutting down families as they ran. Commander Park Hyun-woo stayed at his post until the very end, calling out evacuation routes and trying to buy time for the civilians. His last transmission crackled with static and gunfire. "This is New Busan Control. We are overrun. Repeat, we are overrun. Tell Earth. Tell them we tried to make peace. Tell them these monsters gave us no choice." The transmission cut to silence. Private Nam Soo-jin made it to her family's underground shelter, but not all of her family made it with her. Her father had stayed outside to help neighbors. Her brother had been at a friend's house on the other side of town. She sat in the dark with her mother and little sister, listening to the sounds of destruction above. The aliens found them 3 hours later. Soo-jin watched through a crack in the shelter door as the creatures searched the ruins. They moved like they had done this many times before. Some gathered human bodies. Others collected technology, scanning everything with handheld devices. A few took samples from the crops and animals. This was not war. This was harvesting. Humans were just another resource to be collected from another world. When the alien ships finally departed, they left behind smoking ruins and empty streets. Of the 3,000 people who had called Kepler 442b home, fewer than 800 survived to tell the story. Most of those were the ones lucky enough to reach evacuation ships. Captain Yoon Tae-hyuk's cargo hauler limped toward the next human system, overloaded with refugees and running on backup power. His small ship carried 47 survivors, including 16 children who no longer had parents. They huddled together in the cargo bay, wrapped in emergency blankets. The little girl who had asked about her mom sat beside Yoon as he piloted the ship. She had not spoken again since the evacuation. Neither had many of the others. They just stared with hollow eyes at nothing. "Captain," called his navigator, Cho Min-soo. "I'm picking up emergency broadcasts from the Henderson system in Tau Ceti. Same pattern. Simultaneous attacks. No warning." Yoon felt cold spread through his chest. 3 colonies. 3 peaceful worlds full of families and children, all attacked at the same time. "How many survivors?" he asked. Cho checked his instruments. "Early reports suggest maybe 30%, if we're lucky. 40,000 people. Gone. Harvested like wheat." The refugee ships sent their reports to Earth as fast as they could push their communications equipment. Video files, sensor data, witness testimonies. Everything they had managed to record during the attacks. Dr. Kim So-ra sat in Yoon's tiny medical bay, writing her report with shaking hands. Her first contact protocols had failed completely. The aliens had never intended to communicate. They had studied the human colonies like a farmer studies a field, deciding when the crop was ready for harvest. They knew exactly where to hit, she wrote. Schools, hospitals, gathering places. They targeted the children first. This was not random violence. This was calculated extermination with a purpose we do not yet understand. She attached the video files to her report. Alien soldiers loading human bodies onto their ships. Technology being scanned and cataloged. The systematic destruction of everything humans had built. Earth needs to know, she concluded, that we tried to make peace. We offered friendship. They responded with slaughter. Whatever comes next, remember that we gave them every chance to choose a different path. The messages raced toward Earth at light speed, carrying news that would change everything. Humanity had spent centuries learning to be peaceful gardeners among the stars. Now they were about to remember why they had conquered their own world first. The aliens had made a terrible mistake. They had killed human children. They had harvested human families like crops. They had awakened something that had been sleeping for a very long time. And soon, Very soon, they would learn what happened when you made dragons angry. President Kang Mi-young stood in the emergency meeting room deep beneath Seoul, watching the horror unfold on the wall screens. Video feeds from the 3 attacked colonies played on loop. Burning buildings, dead children, alien soldiers loading human bodies like cargo. She had not slept in 36 hours. None of them had. 42,000 confirmed dead, reported Defense Secretary Park Won-ho, his voice flat with exhaustion. 8,000 still missing, presumed dead. The aliens took everything they could carry, including... He stopped, unable to finish the sentence. Including the children. President Kang finished for him. Her voice was quiet, but everyone in the room could hear the ice in it. They took our children. General Bae Sung-ho cleared his throat. The old soldier looked uncomfortable, which was unusual for him. Madam President, we need to discuss response options. The public is demanding action. Military recruitment centers have lines around the block. People are angry. Good, President Kang said. They should be angry. I'm angry too. She turned to face the room full of advisors, military officers, and scientists. These people had helped her guide humanity through 20 years of peaceful expansion. Now they would help her wage war. General Bae, I want you to activate the Dragon Protocol. The room went silent. Several people shifted uncomfortably in their chairs. The Dragon Protocol was supposed to be a last resort, something they hoped never to use. Madam President, said Science Advisor Dr. Jang Woo-jin carefully. Are you certain? Once we open that door, there's no closing it again. President Kang looked at the screens again. A little girl's body lay in the street of New Busan, her toy bear clutched in her arms. The aliens had not even bothered to take the toy. It was not useful to them. They made the choice for us when they slaughtered our children, she said. Activate everything. I want every dragon awakened within the month. General Bae nodded grimly and pulled out a secure communicator. This is Alpha Priority Dragon Command. Authorization Kang 777. Begin Phase 1 activation immediately. Across the Earth, hidden facilities suddenly burst to life. Deep underground bunkers that had been maintained by skeleton crews for decades, suddenly filled with thousands of workers. Secret factories that produced agricultural equipment, retooled overnight to manufacture weapons of war. Research stations that claimed to study weather modification began preparing tools that could crack planets. Dr. Jang Woo-jin had spent his career hoping he would never see his work used. Now he watched teams of scientists activate systems that had been sleeping for 20 years. The Dragon Protocol was humanity's insurance policy, the weapons they would build if their peaceful expansion ever faced extinction. How long? Asked General Bae. Dr. Jang checked his tablet. The production lines will be fully operational in 2 weeks. First Dragon-class warships can launch in 6 weeks. The biological weapons will take longer. We need to study the alien genetics first, but we have samples from the attack sites. Biological weapons? President Kang raised an eyebrow. Custom-designed viruses, Dr. Jang explained without emotion. Targeted to alien DNA. They'll be completely harmless to humans and Earth life, but lethal to the attackers. We'll need to test them first, of course. President Kang nodded. The old her would have been horrified by such weapons. The old her had lived in a world where humans were the only intelligent species, where peace was possible through understanding. That world had died with the children of New Busan. Master Sergeant Oh Han-yul received her orders while training new recruits at the Jeju Island facility. The Dragon Corps was supposed to be humanity's elite special forces, trained for threats that conventional military could not handle. They had spent years practicing for theoretical scenarios. Now those scenarios were very real. Listen up, she shouted to the 1,000 volunteers who had arrived that morning. More were coming every day. You all saw what happened to our colonies. You all know why you're here. The aliens think we're soft. They think we're easy prey. We're going to teach them how wrong they are. The volunteers ranged from teenagers to grandparents, farmers, teachers, engineers, doctors, people who had never held weapons before, but their eyes all held the same cold fire. They had seen the videos. They knew what the aliens did to human children. Dragon Corps training normally takes 2 years, Han-yul continued. We don't have 2 years. We have 8 weeks to turn you into the most dangerous soldiers in the galaxy. Some of you won't make it. Some of you will quit. But those who stay will become something the aliens have never seen before. She gestured to the weapons racks behind her. Not the old kinetic guns that colony defense forces used, but new designs. Energy weapons that could punch through starship armor. Suits that would let soldiers survive in the vacuum of space. Tools designed for one purpose, killing aliens. "Welcome to the Dragon Corps," Han Yul said. "Let's go wake up some sleeping monsters." The transformation happened faster than anyone thought possible. Earth's civilian infrastructure shifted to war production almost overnight. Factories that made hover cars began producing fighter jets. Shipyards that built cargo haulers started assembling battle cruisers. The public supported it completely. Every human on Earth had seen the footage from the colonies. Every parent imagined their own children in those burning streets. Recruitment centers could not process volunteers fast enough. President Kang visited the Titan shipyards 3 weeks after giving the activation order. The massive space station buzzed with activity as workers assembled humanity's new war fleet. Ships larger than anything they had ever built before, armed with weapons that existed only in theory just months ago. "How many?" she asked the yard supervisor, Commander Lim Ye-jin. 12 Dragon-class battleships will be ready for launch in 5 weeks, Lim reported. 48 Serpent-class cruisers, 200 Raptor-class fighters, and the World Killer will be ready for testing in 3 months. The World Killer. President Kang had hoped never to hear that name spoken aloud. It was the ultimate Dragon Protocol weapon, a ship designed to destroy entire planets if necessary. "Do we really need something that extreme?" she asked. Commander Lim looked at her steadily. "They killed our children, Madam President. They harvested our families like crops. If that's how they want to play, then yes, we need the World Killer." Dr. Kim So-ra, one of the few survivors from the Kepler 442b attack, found herself in a very different role than she had ever imagined. Instead of studying first contact protocols, she now studied alien biology. Instead of preparing messages of peace, she helped design weapons of war. "The genetic samples are fascinating," she reported to the Military Science Committee. "The aliens are definitely biological, not artificial, carbon-based like us, but with silicon reinforcement in their bones and nervous systems. That gives us several attack vectors." She pulled up holographic displays showing alien cellular structure. "We can design retroviruses that will target their unique genetic markers. The beauty is that these viruses will be completely harmless to humans and Earth life. They'll be custom-made weapons that only work on the aliens." General Bay leaned forward. "How effective?" "Complete extermination within days of exposure," Dr. Kim So-ra said calmly. "We can deploy them through atmospheric processors on their homeworlds. No survivors." The woman who had once preached peace and understanding now spoke of genocide with scientific precision. The aliens had changed her, just like they had changed all of humanity. The final piece of the Dragon Protocol was the most secret of all. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility that officially did not exist, teams of scientists worked on humanity's most terrible weapon. Not the ship killers or planet crackers, but something worse. The silence makers. Weapons that could reach into faster-than-light space and destroy ships while they traveled between stars. Devices that could eliminate entire fleets before they ever reached their targets. Technology that would make humans the apex predators of the galaxy. Dr. Jang Woo-jin stood in the control room, watching the final tests. "Are we really going to do this?" asked his assistant. "Once we deploy these weapons, we'll be the most feared species in the galaxy." "Good," Dr. Jang replied. "Fear keeps children alive. The aliens thought we were harmless. They thought they could harvest us like animals. They were wrong." He looked at the displays showing Earth's new military might. Warships that could fight entire alien fleets. Weapons that could sterilize worlds. Soldiers trained to show no mercy to those who threatened human families. "Let the galaxy fear us," he said quietly. "Let them know that humanity protects its own. And let them understand what happens when you kill our children." The dragons were stirring. Soon they would fly to war, and the aliens who had awakened them would learn the true meaning of regret. Fleet Admiral Song Ji-hoon stood on the bridge of the EDS Retribution, watching the alien border system grow larger on the main screen. Behind him, the largest battle fleet in human history prepared for war. 12 Dragon-class battleships, each one larger than the space stations the aliens had destroyed. 48 cruisers loaded with weapons that could melt continents. Fighter squadrons carrying bombs that burned hotter than stars. "All ships report ready for combat, Admiral," reported Captain Park In-soo from the communications station. "Operation Dragonfire is cleared for execution." Song nodded slowly. He had served in the Earth Defense Force for 30 years, but always in peaceful missions. Escort duties, disaster relief, colony supply runs. He had never fired a weapon in anger. Today would be different. Today he carried the fury of 42,000 murdered humans. "Signal the fleet," he said quietly. "Remember why we're here. Remember the children of New Busan. Remember that we offered peace and they chose war. Show them no mercy, because they showed our families none." The alien system contained 3 inhabited worlds and a dozen military stations. Intelligence suggested nearly 1 billion aliens lived here. It was one of the smaller border systems of the Vaktar Empire, chosen specifically for humanity's first demonstration. "Admiral," called the sensor operator, detecting massive alien fleet movements. "Looks like they're trying to form a defensive line around the primary world." Song studied the tactical display. The aliens had managed to gather nearly 300 warships. An impressive response to what they probably saw as a minor human raid. They had no idea what was coming. "Colonel Ryu," Song activated the comm system. "Your Dragon Corps is cleared for deployment." Colonel Ryu Mina floated in the zero-gravity staging area of the assault transport, surrounded by her elite soldiers. Each warrior wore armor that made them look more like machines than humans. Enhanced strength, enhanced speed, enhanced vision, technology that had been waiting 20 years for a war worth fighting. "Dragon Corps, this is your colonel speaking," she said over the unit channel. "Today we write a new chapter in human history. Today we show the galaxy that attacking our children was the biggest mistake the aliens ever made." The transport shook as it launched from the Retribution's bay. Around them, dozens of similar ships carried the best soldiers humanity had ever produced toward the alien fleet. "Remember your training," Ryu continued. "No prisoners unless they have intelligence value. No mercy for those who killed our families. Make them regret the day they learned humans existed." The battle began with humanity's new weapons. Energy beams that could slice through alien armor like paper. Missiles that could track targets through faster-than-light jumps. Point defense systems that shot down incoming fire with perfect accuracy. The aliens fought bravely, but they were not prepared for the technological revolution that human fury had created. Their weapons, which had seemed so advanced when they destroyed the colonies, barely scratched the armor of human warships. Lieutenant Commander Shin Jae-won watched from the weapons control station as his targeting computer locked onto alien vessels. Each press of his trigger represented years of human scientific advancement, compressed into instruments of war. "Target the command. Ship first," ordered Admiral Song. "Let them see their leaders die." The alien flagship was a massive thing, larger than most human ships. It tried to retreat when it realized how outmatched it was, but human weapons moved faster than alien engines. The great ship split in half, its death lighting up the system like a second sun. "That's for New Busan," Shin whispered. The alien fleet began to scatter. Some ships tried to flee to hyperspace, but humanity had prepared for that too. The silence makers activated, reaching into the space between dimensions and crushing alien vessels. As they tried to escape, none would survive to warn their masters of what was coming. Corporal Han Bora recorded everything through her helmet camera as Dragon Corps soldiers boarded alien stations. The beings inside fought with desperation, but human technology and human rage made the outcome certain. "The aliens are trying to surrender," reported one of her squad members, over the comm. "Did they accept surrender from the children of Henderson Colony?" Ryu's voice crackled back. "Keep moving. Secure all data systems." Bora kicked down a bulkhead door and found herself face to face with a group of alien civilians. They cowered against the far wall, their large eyes wide with terror. For a moment she hesitated. They looked almost innocent. Then she remembered the video footage from the colonies. Alien soldiers dragging human children toward their ships. These same wide eyes watching human families burn. Her finger found the trigger. The alien data cores revealed more than humanity had hoped for. Complete star charts of the Vaktar Empire, military codes, communication frequencies. Most importantly, the location of their home worlds and the identity of the High Consul, who had ordered the attacks on human colonies. "His name is Mordan," Dr. Kim Sora reported as she analyzed the captured data. "He's their supreme military commander. According to these files, he specifically ordered the attacks as a harvesting operation. They call humans soft meat in their language." Admiral Song felt his jaw clench. Soft meat. That's what they thought of human children. That's what they called the families they had slaughtered. How many more systems like this one? He asked. Dr. Kim scrolled through the data. The Empire has 47 major systems and hundreds of smaller outposts. Total population estimated at 200 billion. Good, Song said quietly. That means we won't run out of targets. The second battle was even more one-sided than the first. Human ships appeared without warning in another Vactar system, moving faster than the aliens thought possible. The defense fleet barely had time to raise shields before human weapons tore them apart. This time, humanity deployed the biological weapons. Dr. Zhang Wu-jin monitored the atmospheric processors from his command ship as they released their invisible cargo into the alien world's atmosphere. The custom viruses spread on the wind, seeking out the unique genetic markers that made aliens different from humans. Deployment successful, he reported. Viral saturation achieved across all population centers. Within hours, every alien on the planet was dead. The viruses worked exactly as designed, shutting down alien nervous systems while leaving every other form of life untouched. The cities stood empty but intact, their alien builders simply gone. Next target? Asked his aide. Dr. Yang consulted his list. 17 systems had contributed ships to the colonial attacks. All 17 would receive the same treatment. The mining world in Sector 7, he said. They provided the metal for the weapons that killed our children. The war became a systematic extermination. Human fleets appeared in alien systems like angels of death, bringing weapons the Vactar Empire had no defense against. World after world fell silent as biological weapons did their work. Those aliens who tried to surrender found that humans were not interested in prisoners. Those who tried to flee discovered that human technology could reach them anywhere in the galaxy. High Consul Mordan watched his empire crumble from his fortress world deep in Vactar space. Fleet after fleet vanished without even sending distress signals. Entire star systems went dark, their populations simply disappearing. How is this possible? He demanded of his military advisors. The humans showed no advanced technology in their colonies. Their defenses were primitive. His intelligence chief, Subconsul Rakhan, trembled as he delivered his report. Great Consul, it appears the humans were deliberately hiding their true capabilities. Our analysis suggests they have been preparing for this kind of war for decades. Preparing for what kind of war? Total extinction warfare, Great Consul. They appear to have weapons specifically designed to eliminate entire species. Mordan stared at the tactical display showing the expanding zone of dead worlds. In just 6 months, the humans had destroyed nearly half of his empire. Not conquered, destroyed. The worlds they attacked were not occupied or enslaved. They were simply emptied of all alien life. Send an unconditional surrender, he ordered. Offer them anything they want. Tribute, territory, slaves. We already tried, Great Consul. They do not respond to our communications. Mordan felt something he had never experienced in his long life of conquest. True fear. The humans were not interested in surrender. They were not interested in negotiation. They were interested in only one thing, making sure that every being who had participated in the colonial attacks was dead. And they were very, very good at killing. Admiral Song received the alien surrender offers through automated systems. He read them once, then deleted them without response. Any word from Earth? Asked his aide. President Kang's orders remain unchanged, Song replied. Complete elimination of all hostile forces. No negotiations until the High Consul is captured alive for questioning. He looked out at the stars, thinking of the children who would never grow up, the families who would never reunite. The aliens had chosen to see humans as prey. Now they would learn what it meant to be hunted by the galaxy's apex predator. The dragons were flying, and their fire would burn until justice was done. High Consul Mordan knelt in the ruins of his throne room, his forearms bound with human restraints. The great fortress world that had been the heart of the Vactar Empire for 1,000 years lay in smoking ruins around him. His guards were dead, his fleets were destroyed, his people were scattered or extinct. Across from him stood Admiral Song Ji-hoon, the human who had brought his empire to its knees in just 8 months of war. The man looked smaller than Mordan had expected. Humans were such tiny creatures compared to the mighty Vactar, yet this small being had commanded the most destructive military campaign in galactic history. You destroyed 43 worlds, Song said quietly. His voice carried no emotion, just simple facts. 200 billion of your people are dead. Your empire no longer exists. Mordan tried to speak, but the words came out as a croak. He had not eaten or slept properly in weeks. The stress of watching his civilization die had broken something inside him. Why? He finally managed to ask. We only took 3 of your small colonies. 3 worlds with barely any defenses. Why did you destroy everything? Song looked at him with eyes like winter stars. Cold, empty, final. Because you killed our children. The answer was so simple that it took Mordan a moment to understand. He had expected complex political reasons, strategic calculations, resource conflicts. Instead, the humans had committed genocide because of something as basic as protective instinct. The colonies were just resource gathering. Mordan whispered. Standard procedure. We have harvested hundreds of species. It means nothing. It meant everything to us. Ambassador Park Sun-ho arrived 3 days later to formally accept the Vaktar surrender. He was a diplomat, trained in negotiation and compromise. But even he spoke with the voice of human fury barely held in check. The terms are simple, he told the assembled Vaktar survivors. Complete and unconditional surrender. All remaining military forces will be disbanded. All weapons will be turned over to human authority. Your surviving worlds will become protectorates under human administration. The alien leaders looked stunned. Protectorates? You mean you will rule us? We mean we will make sure you never threaten anyone again, Park replied. You will be allowed to live, but under human supervision. Any act of aggression, any attempt to rebuild military forces, any threat to human colonies or our allies will result in immediate extermination. Elder Vestaken, one of the few surviving Vaktar politicians, spoke up with desperate courage. And if we refuse? Park gestured to the window. Outside, the human battle fleet hung in orbit around their world like metal moons. Each ship carried enough firepower to glass continents. Then you die. All of you. Today. The surrender was signed within an hour. Admiral Lim Ye-jin found herself in an unexpected role as the first military governor of Vaktar space. Her job was to administer the ruins of an empire and make sure its survivors never again posed a threat to human colonies. Establish monitoring stations in every system, she ordered her staff. I want to know if a Vaktar so much as builds a backyard shed without permission. Install human AI oversight on all their communication networks. Any sign of military organization gets reported immediately. The work was immense. 47 star systems to patrol, millions of surviving aliens to monitor, space stations to build, patrol routes to establish, administrative systems to create. But humanity had learned something important during the war. When they focused their entire civilization on a single goal, they could accomplish almost anything. Dr. Ko Jin-young, the architect of humanity's new galactic policies, worked with President Kang Mi-young to create the legal framework for their expanded influence. The Shepherd Doctrine, Ko explained to the president, establishes humanity as the protector of peaceful species and the enemy of aggressive ones. Any species that attacks civilian populations becomes an enemy of humanity. Any species that asks for our protection becomes our ally. President Kang studied the document. It was a far cry from the peaceful exploration policies she had supported just a year ago. But the burned colonies had taught hard lessons about the galaxy they lived in. How are the other species reacting? She asked. Ko smiled grimly. The Threxian Federation sent a tribute fleet last week. Gold rare minerals artwork? They wanted to make sure we know they're peaceful. The Zephyrian Trade Union signed a mutual defense treaty. The crystalline hives requested human protection from 3 different aggressive neighbors. And the aggressive ones? The Ravager clans tried to attack a human patrol ship. They don't exist anymore. The Bone Fleet sent raiders against one of our allied systems. We sterilized their homeworld yesterday. President Kang nodded. It was harsh, but the galaxy was harsh. The Vaktar had proven that some species saw peaceful expansion as weakness. Now everyone knew that humans could be peaceful neighbors or terrible enemies. The choice was theirs. Captain Yoon Tae-hyuk, the cargo ship pilot who had saved children from the attack on Kepler 442b, returned to that system for the first time in 2 years. The planet had been rebuilt, but it was different now. Massive defense platforms orbited the world. Military bases dotted the surface. The peaceful farming community had become a fortress. In the memorial garden at the center of New Busan, stone tablets listed the names of those who had died in the alien attack. Yoon found the name he was looking for and placed a small flower beside it. "We got them all," he whispered to the stone. "Every last one of them." The little girl he had saved that day, now 9 years old, came to visit him. She lived with a new family now, but she remembered the cargo captain who had crashed through a playground to save her life. "Uncle Yoon," she said, taking his hand, "are the bad aliens all gone now?" He looked down at her bright eyes, so different from the hollow stare she had worn during those first days after the attack. "Yes, sweetie, they're all gone. And if any other bad aliens ever try to hurt children, we'll make them go away too." The galaxy had learned to watch the humans carefully. The species that had seemed so peaceful, so focused on farming and trade, had revealed themselves as the most dangerous warriors anyone had ever seen. Their weapons could reach across dimensions. Their armies could exterminate entire species. Their fury, once awakened, was absolute, but they were not random killers. The humans followed rules even in their terrible anger. They protected those who sought peace. They destroyed those who threatened the innocent. They had become the galaxy's shepherds, keeping the flock safe from predators. The price of their protection was simple: behave. Respect peaceful species. Keep your weapons pointed at military targets. Never, ever harm human children. 3 years after the HFY War ended, a new species appeared at the edge of human space. The Kethmori were insectoid beings, traveling in ships that looked like flying crystals. They approached the human border with extreme caution, broadcasting peaceful intentions on every frequency they could find. Ambassador Park Sun-ho met with their delegation on the neutral station of New Geneva. The alien leader, a being that introduced itself as hive singer Velnash, brought gifts of art and music. "We have heard stories," Velnash said through its translator device. "Stories of the fate that befell the HFY Empire. Stories of human fury awakened," Park nodded. "The stories are true. We offered them peace. They chose war. We gave them war beyond their imagination. We choose peace," Velnash said quickly. "We bring trade goods, cultural exchanges, scientific cooperation. We wish to be friends with humanity." "Then you are welcome in human space," Park replied. "We protect our friends. But understand the price of friendship. If you ever threaten human colonies, human families, human children..." He didn't need to finish the sentence. Everyone in the galaxy knew what happened to species that threatened human children. Dr. Kim So-ra, now head of the Human Diplomatic Corps, reviewed the latest reports from across human space. 24 species had requested human protection. 6 different wars had ended when human fleets arrived to mediate. The galaxy was becoming more peaceful, but it was the peace of a well-tended garden with very attentive gardeners. "Any new threats?" asked her aide. "The usual pirate raids, but nothing organized. Word has gotten out that attacking peaceful colonies brings human attention. Most species would rather avoid our attention entirely." She looked out at the stars through her office window. Somewhere out there, human patrol fleets moved through space, keeping watch over dozens of allied species. The peaceful expansion that had been interrupted by the HFY attacks had resumed, but now it was backed by the most powerful military in galactic history. Humanity had learned that peace required strength. The gardens needed guardians. That sometimes, to protect the innocent, you had to become the thing that monsters feared in the dark. The dragons no longer slept. They flew eternal patrol through the galaxy, watching over those who could not watch over themselves. And they would continue to fly as long as there were children who needed protection from the predators that hunted between the stars. The HFY had wanted to harvest humans like crops. Instead, they had awakened shepherds who would guard the galaxy for generations to come. In the end, they had gotten exactly what they deserved. Nothing at all.